I told my husband I wanted a divorce. And this would probably shock a lot of my friends and my family because I hadn't told anybody. I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet.
This is exactly why so many men don't want to get married. Because they could be the most loyal, hardworking, honest, good man, but then they end up divorced. That is scary because if he's literally doing nothing wrong, then what can he fix? But here this man is. He's already doing everything. What's even worse is that this has been going on in her head for 10 years. He probably had no clue. And then she'll give him 6 months to somehow fix it after it's been going on for more than 10 years. It's so unfair. And this is what men mean when they say that it came out of nowhere, that they were blindsided. She blindsided him. She can't say that, well, she told him 6 months ago that it was a problem and it needed to be fixed. And then they end up in divorce. And then she claimed that she didn't blindside him. You did blindside him.
Reason why young men especially are hesitant to get married is because for a lot of men, they don't see any benefit from it. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. If someday she could say, you know what, I'm not really feeling this anymore, I'm going to divorce you, but you're still going to be responsible for paying for me for the rest of your life.
Like I said, I'm pro prenup, and alimony is not gendered. It's literally a formula in most states. And so in a situation, I do think if a man wants to get married, you should think about this. You should think about this possibility. But I don't think that it's fair that a woman who has given up so much in order to be a homemaker shouldn't have any shouldn't have anything. She should just be left on the street.
Marriage used to be the dream, right? A man and woman building a family, raising kids, supporting each other, and actually growing old together. That was the idea. But in today's world, more and more men are saying, no thanks, I'm not signing that contract. And honestly, can you blame them?
Here's why I will never get married as a man. Growing up, you're always taught that relationships eventually lead to a point of a union, of a marriage where you sign a government contract binding you two together. But the issue with marriages is the fact that nearly 50% of them end in divorce. Alongside with that, women and people really don't even know what a marriage means. Most women just want the validation of being called a wife, the ring, and of course, the wedding. In order to have a long-term relationship, you really don't have to get the government involved. You can do everything that a marriage actually entails without signing a government contract. That includes getting the ring, having a wedding, maybe even doing a honeymoon, changing her last name, having kids together, living together. You can all do this while being married without being technically married through a contract. Now, if you are gonna get married, at least to some degree protect yourself as a man. This includes getting a prenup before you decide to sign the papers. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up being another statistic and then complaining about how all women are the same.
Yo, y'all wanna know why most men don't wanna get married?
Because y'all can't afford to? Duh. I know so many dudes that are like, I want a traditional marriage. My wife should be submissive to me. What is she submitting to? Poverty? These dudes have no house, no car, no savings, but expect their partners to do all the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, because that's how it went in the 1950s. You know what else happened in the 1950s? Men were supporting entire families on one salary. They were paying for the house by themselves, putting food on the table, paying for vacations, kids, clothes, everything. And listen, I'm not trying to shame modern day men. The cost of living, education, and buying a home has dramatically outpaced wages. It's not their fault. But 53% of households are now dual income, meaning they need two partners to provide financially for the numbers to work. That means both partners need to contribute at home too. You can't ask your working girlfriend for stay-at-home wifey privileges if you can't afford that lifestyle.
Let's face it. In modern times, marriage is no longer what it used to be. The fairy tale doesn't match the reality. When men look at marriage today, they don't see love and loyalty, they see risk. Divorce rates are sky high. Most divorces are filed by women. And when it happens, men are left paying alimony, child support, and sometimes losing access to the very children they helped raise. Marriage has turned into a legal gamble, except the house is always stacked against the man.
What are your fears to settling down with one girl and having a family?
Mostly just protection of my assets. I think that's the biggest thing. Once you build up certain assets about yourself in business, to realize that that can be taken away from you really is the biggest con to me. And I don't like the idea of how somebody can be rewarded for waking up one random day on a Tuesday deciding they don't want to be with you anymore. I just don't like that idea. But on the opposite hand, from the woman's perspective, I understand marriage does provide some sort of insurance for me to not do that, because
Like, I'm committing to you. I'm going to go through pregnancy probably for you, and you're just going to leave me high and dry.
Yeah, and that's where the woman just has to trust me. No. I trust myself more so than I trust a woman, honestly, even if I've been with her for a very long period of time.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men. But why do women tend to end divorces? With successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to
She
put
said
up
it earlier.
with.
It's
So
a feeling.
why?
Feelings change from day to day.
Yeah,
time
so
to
I
time.
could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the
Because
point.
he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
That's all I'm asking.
If I marry you and
Yeah.
you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff, and maybe.
So is there no risk
So?
without reward?
Oh, so what?
You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
You
men
wanted to marry me.
don't want to
You
get married.
thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and
so
take
real
the
quick,
risk.
hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words why guys don't get married.
But here's the kicker: when men point this out, they're told, "Oh, you're just scared of commitment." Scared of commitment? No. Men are committed to their sanity, their finances, and their freedom. What they're not committed to is signing a contract where one mistake, or one change of heart from their partner, can ruin their life for decades.
Name one benefit that a man gets from a marriage that he wouldn't get in a regular relationship.
Just one.
I think a lot of men who choose to get married are incentivized by the fact that they are able to claim that woman as theirs. And
But name one benefit that they would get in a marriage that they wouldn't get in a regular
well,
relationship.
I think even though it's not 100%, there's peace of mind that that woman is not
The
going to
answer
be
is
loyal
there's
to
none.
you.
The answer is there's none. You're
Well-
dancing around it. There is none. So my thing is this. I think it's in a man's best interest to stay Peter Pan, as you would say. And I think women shame men because men gain their value in their 40s. Men understand the sexual marketplace better. They understand that women have no leverage in their 40s. And they date down and they get younger, more attractive girls. And that's the best way to go in today's day and age where we live in a deregulated sexual marketplace where women could take everything they got, take their kids, etc. Why the hell would a guy want to commit to women nowadays when, honestly, we got wholeflation?
I think it's also setting a good example to children that you have a family nucleus. And I think there's something to be said about that.
Well, you can do that without the state getting involved in getting married.
The society we're creating right now, more and more men don't want to get married. And I get why. There is almost zero upside for men getting married. This isn't me saying that men shouldn't get married, or women, but think about what society is telling men about what being a man is. Tell about society is fucking men hardcore for getting married. If you get married and you get divorced, a woman takes 50% of whatever you have. 80% of relationships, the man is the biggest provider. So that's a big fuck right off the bat. What are you getting in exchange for that? Second, if you have kids with her, you're fucked because the government doesn't think that you deserve shit. So even good dads who try to stay in the kid's life are fucked. So there's a lot of men going, why the fuck would I do this? The good news is that will correct itself because eventually then people start going, oh, right? When you create mistakes, you only create more error. Error creates more error. So we've gone so far the other direction that more and more men are going like, why the fuck would I get married?
I don't want a girlfriend because I don't want to get married.
Okay. Well, by the way, I hear you, but why don't you want to get married?
The babies come in.
Wait, just why the baby's coming? Okay, so what's wrong with babies?
They're annoying.
Let's talk about how marriage itself has changed. Back in the day, marriage was about duty, sacrifice, and teamwork. Both man and woman had skin in the game. But today, too many modern women treat marriage like a starter pack for lifestyle upgrades. The man pays for the house, the bills, the vacations. The woman decides if she's happy or bored. And if she walks away, she still gets rewarded through the courts. Where's the incentive for men in that? Where's the protection?
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. And they're like almost proud, happy about the fact that they're gonna choose and make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
Here's the problem with modern marriage from a man's perspective. Most of the marriages I know, okay, the man provides financially, he protects, taking care of kids, doing the things that he can do. What does the woman bring? She brings love, affection, a little bit of sweetness at the end of the day, you know, sex. If you get divorced, every single thing on that side of the man equation, he can be compelled to do by the power of the state, and if he fails to do it, they can put him in jail. Nothing on that other side, the female side, is enforceable at law.
Let me tell you the fundamental thing. The type of man that you want has options. He can choose Israel, India, Egypt.
Can I say I wouldn't want a man who didn't choose me?
The challenge is what you are bringing to the table, what you want. The other girls are not going to fight him for. You want him to support and join your team as well. These other two girls, India and Egypt, say, I will just join this team. I'm not trying to do all those. They have the advantage over you. You are combative. You are combative. When talking to you, we're going to have to argue. With those girls, you don't have to argue. So the challenge is going to be, why would he choose them over
wouldn't
you?
a man get bored by a woman who doesn't have any opinion or care at all?
Okay. And so the unfortunate reality is that is not true. And if you keep on viewing men view women the way you view men, you will keep on experiencing the same negative results over and over again. No, to answer your question, no, they will not get bored. It's actually peaceful.
And this isn't just about money. It's about respect. Too many men feel like once they're married, they stop being treated as partners, and start being treated as providers. The intimacy fades. The appreciation disappears. And they're stuck in a contract they can't get out of without losing half of everything they worked for. So men are asking themselves the hard question, why risk it?
Right. Yeah, for sure. What's your thoughts on arranged marriage?
I think it's a great idea. Really? Absolutely. Who knows better than dad? Dad knows best who the woman should marry. Absolutely, that's a fantastic idea. Oh, what? Okay. Yeah, arranged marriages don't they have a far higher success rate than any non-arranged marriage?
Yeah,
I think it's a really good thing. I mean,
totally. You know, if you want to wait until marriage and you previously slept with 100 people, that's your call. However, like, I think a lot of men and a lot of guys are going to look at that and be like, well, you had one standard before and now you've shifted it. And again, 100% it's your call, but men are also free to feel a certain type of way about this shift.
Women divorce men 70 to 80% of the time. I would argue in relationships it's probably similar. Men aren't leaving, women are. So to a guy's point of view, he's going to commit to this girl. And what does he get? He doesn't get purity anymore. You know, these hoes. You know, he doesn't get youth anymore, so he doesn't get either of those things. A lot of times she already has a kid, so he's not fulfilling his mating strategy. On top of that, even if he does find a good woman that maybe has the qualities he's looking for, she was going to want him to marry her. And what does he get out of that? Oh, she can leave and take half and take my kid. And she's paid to take my kids away from me. She gets more money if she takes my children. And so from the men's point of view, they're just kind of like, F it, because like women aren't wives nowadays. And what do they get out of it?
But
like,
you know,
men are logical. They're logical people. And so they're thinking, does the benefit outweigh the cost? And like, I just think as women, we have to look at ourselves and say, the benefits we bring nowadays don't outweigh the cost for most men.
This is why men don't want to risk getting married anymore. Not because they hate women, not because they don't want families, but because the risk doesn't match the reward. It's like being asked to bet your house, your car, and your future paycheck on a coin toss. So the next time you hear someone cry, "Where did all the good men go?" remember this: they didn't vanish. They just stopped playing a game that was designed for them to lose.
what logical man would get married? It's a suicide. It's literally dangerous because you're signing up to being financially ruined. You could end up in jail for not paying some child support. And this is a Western phenomenon, whereas in other countries like Eastern Europe, you don't have these problems.
Without question, I would never get married again. I'm in a long-term relationship. I got a great gal, she's my girlfriend. We've been together for a while. We're monogamous, but I would never get married. I mean, if she said, if you don't marry me, then I'm going to leave, I would just say, okay, fine, bye. Because I'm not that guy that would allow the state to govern what happens in my household. There's things that you can do to mitigate those risks or minimize them, there's states that you can move to that are equal or father friendly, like Kentucky, for example. Arizona, they're right at the top of the list. You can vet for red flags. You can make sure she's got a low notch count or no notch count. There's a lot of things that you can do, but by the time you do all of those things, you're probably left with less than 1 or 2% of the female population. I think that if you're going to get married, you need to vet women properly.
And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.